Hi guys, I'm on another nature walk. Seems like I'm always on a nature walk when I turn on the camera, but it's just a good time to do that because I'm really peaceful and calm and more centered, I feel. So I've had a really good weekend. It's been pretty low-key. It cooled down yesterday. It was like 40 degrees, so we did a lot of baking and cooking, and that was fun because we don't do that very often. And now that I'm kind of home all day, alone every single day now because both my parents are working again and my sister's at school, I have a lot of solitude time, but not a lot anymore with everyone. So it's nice to just like chill out and make some good food and yeah, so that was nice yesterday. And I had a movie marathon with my mom, which was nice also. And now I'm just kind of relaxing outside today. Deciding whether I should keep walking or not. I think I will. So as you can see, everything is popped out and it's nice and green, and I'm really enjoying just having blue skies today because the weather is pretty unpredictable, and so it makes you really appreciate, when you get nice weather. Not that I don't enjoy the rain, but the cold does go straight to me, and sometimes I get sick of that. So I am enjoying my alone time. It's been 2 weeks now, and I've had a lot of time to process things and kind of get a little bit more clear on what I want to do, what I want to work on, and so that's been the good thing. I think I'm going to sit down right here. It's a good spot. Let's hope I don't get any ticks. So overall, I'm really happy with how it's going so far. I've been working a lot on myself, a lot on just like some of the more difficult things, and it's also brought up a lot of motivation to move through it so that I can experience a greater joy, a greater sense of connectedness, and to find friends and to find people that I can really connect with. And a lot of my life has been about like owning up to who I am, like never stepping down and feeling like I have to accommodate for other people. And I think now that I'm older and I have gone through a lot of that and realized that it doesn't work, I found that it's really important to me, and sometimes I get lonely and I feel like there's nobody else out there like me. I know that's not the truth, but I've always kind of been hanging around people that are older than me, and not that I'm complaining about that because I still love all of those people and appreciate all those people, but sometimes you just want to connect with people your age and you want to feel like just connected to someone else that is at the same stage of life as you are. And there's something really great about learning from your elders and learning from people that have been through life and have been introduced to some of those hardships and some of the and even the joys that you haven't been able to experience. And I've learned a lot about life from people that I've been hanging around with for my entire life, and I've always listened to people's stories. I've always asked myself to, like, how can I really just soak in everything that I can, all of everybody's stories, and kind of create my own along the way. And so now I feel like at this point in my life, I am kind of ready to, like, bring all the pieces together and really allow myself to find new people and new experiences. And I think I'm at this point where I'm kind of like melding it all together and getting the courage, I guess. I feel like some of the pieces are yet to come together, but I'm working on them. And so it's like, it's an interesting thing because you have to see ahead. You have to kind of pretend like you're farther along your journey than you are. Like, it's kind of like visualization, kind of seeing yourself in the future, but also owning where you are and being okay with where you are. And I feel like I'm trying to strike a balance between those two, because part of how you can get to where you want to be is to be present with where you are right now. And that doesn't mean to not have motivations and goals, but you have to be okay with, like, okay, I'm still working on these things, but I know that the pieces will come together and I'll be able to go out and make new friends and do things more fearlessly. That's kind of what's going on in my mind right now. And it's exciting, and yet it's hard to sometimes live in that, I guess, what I would call dream or futuristic standpoint, when you feel like you're like you can't see it yet. It seems like too far in advance. I think that's where you make little steps to convince yourself, like, a little bit more and a little bit more, that you are on the right track. And so I think by just taking little steps instead of trying to go from 0 to 100, it makes it seem like not such a huge task to undertake. So I understand that it can feel really big and really hard, and I feel like I've talked about my challenges a lot in an attempt to kind of be really real, be really vulnerable, but also I noticed that I don't talk about my joys and excitement as much, because I have this fear, I guess, of coming off as egotistical. I never knew that I had that perception of myself until fairly recently, where it's like, I don't know, it's interesting, because I've noticed that if you talk about something that's difficult in your life, like, you know, I've talked about my anxiety, and for a long time I had a hard time accepting that that was part of my reality, and so I didn't want to talk about that, and I just talked about the exciting things going on in my life and my accomplishments, and I had an easier time with that. But I always felt like people sometimes got uncomfortable, like, oh, you're talking about that again. And I don't know if that was my own perception or if it was other people getting uncomfortable because they don't feel comfortable kind of voicing who they really are and allowing themselves to be proud of where they are. I am proud of where I am, and so I like to talk about that. And that doesn't mean that I'm self-absorbed or that I am constantly thinking about myself. That's not really where it comes from. Where it comes from is like, oh, let's take a moment to like see how far that I've come, and all the hard work it took to get there, and all of the things that I had to, all the mountains I had to climb to get there. And, whether they were internal or external, that I think is important to recognize. And that's not being egotistical, but I think I've had this fear of coming off that way, and so I kind of started to not really want to talk about it. Or when people ask me about like, how's your book doing, or how are the interviews going, I don't want to answer too much or talk about it too much because of that fear of like coming off as self-absorbed. So that's another piece, I guess, that I'm working with right now. Although I know, like, when I'm talking with people that I trust, my family, I don't have that same struggle because I know that they understand where I'm coming from. So it's difficult for me sometimes to separate the my life, my internal life, my external life, like being able to talk about these things with people that might not be on the same track as me, or might, have different beliefs as me, but not let that, I guess, scare me off. Sometimes it does, because I believe that everyone should be able to choose their own path, choose their own destiny, and I never like to be told what to do, and I never want to tell other people what to do or how to think. And so if people don't agree with me, I tend to not want to even go there. I don't want to bring up conflict, but I also want to be myself. I also want to not pretend that big things are happening in my life, because I feel like I'm on the brink of something pretty big, to be honest with you. I started really my journey at age 16, and that's when I wrote my book, and it was a huge, huge deal, and it still is a huge, huge deal. But I think I've lost track of it a little bit. I've lost sight of the power in it. Not that I still don't believe it, but it was fresh at that time. It was fresh when I was 16, 17, 18, and now I feel like it's not as fresh in my awareness, because it's been 4 years now, and I'm impatient. Let's put it that way. I'm a little bit impatient because I see the power of it, and I see the power of the teachings and the wisdom, and for it to reach people all over the world, and for it to have a platform, a big platform. And that's because I've seen things in my visions and my meditations that prove that to me. And so I'm keeping the faith and going through my own personal transformation right now, and seeing how some of these challenges, how some of these mountains are going to connect in the end, and I'm going to be strong enough and powerful enough to put all these pieces together and really, bring what I have in fullness. I feel like right now I'm collecting all the pieces, and I have the mission clear still in my mind and in my whole being. But I've asked, the universe to provide me with all of the pieces I need, and I promised that I would go through the journey, and I promised myself that, and the universe that. And so It's like, okay, it might take time, you know, I'm going to be impatient because I want it to happen now, as we all do. We want to see, you know, we want to see the end result now, and sometimes it's hard to see that we're actually in the right place right now. It can take some time, and it's going to have to take some patience, but it's worth the journey, it's worth the wait. And what I've realized is that I don't have all the tools yet, or else it would have happened, you know. So more people, I think, will see my message and see my, you know, my mission more when I am fully ready, because I think really what it comes down to is my own readiness, my own like growth. When it's ready, then it will happen. I think that's a message for everyone, because sometimes we think we're ready but we're not, and we're still gathering the pieces, and that doesn't mean that we failed, or that we you know, or that we're done and there's no time left. It means that, you know, we have to stay motivated on our path. We have to keep listening and keep reminding ourselves that, you know, it's a journey, and be patient and keep striving for what you believe in and what you know you're supposed to be doing. And when it's the right time, you'll know, and you'll have all of the tools you need to kind of be that presence and teacher, and just to make your dreams come true. So that's kind of how I feel lately, is that it's kind of a gathering phase, and there's going to be many points, I think, in our life that we're gathering. You know, there's going to be points where it feels like everything is just coming to us and downloading to us, and we're just kind of seeing all the fruits of our labor just flowing into us. And then there's going to be other points where we feel like we're just working, and I think, you know, there's a time and place for both of those, and in the end we get to where we want to be if we stay focused on where we want to be. And might feel slow at some points, that's okay. So those are some thoughts I guess I needed to hear, maybe you needed to hear. I get clear, you know, when I'm out in nature. I get clear and I get more focused. So I'm glad I came out here, and yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you're having a good weekend. And well, actually, by the time you see this, the weekend would be over, so I hope you had a great weekend, and I will see you on Wednesday.